Abraham Lincoln once said, "We the people are the rightful masters of both Congress and the courts, not to overthrow the Constitution, but to overthrow the man who pervert the Constitution." Keep this in mind as we discuss today the recent Congress stimulus package that they approved and how insulting that is for the American people. My name is Dr. David Oualaalou.
And my name is Dr. Ross Stewart.
And you are watching Geopolitics in Conflict.
David, something really strange happened with this stimulus bill. What we're looking at is the intention of really helping out those Americans who need the help. When we do a deep dive, which we usually don't do in this kind of a subject, when we do a deep dive into this, we're seeing the strangest things I can imagine.
That's correct, Russ. This bill which just been released to the public. It's about 5,593 pages. And here is the kicker to all this. The 5,593 members of Congress were given only 6 hours to read the bill and approve it. Who's going to read a bill who's going to read a 5,593 bill in 6 hours?
Nobody.
Nobody. And that's why it became very absurd as to how fast Congress wants to rush this so nobody would object to its content.
When was the first stimulus package? Many months ago.
That was about 9 months ago.
So they've had 9 months to analyze the situation and figure out some sort of a bargain between the Republicans and the Democrats to get a bill passed. As opposed to, and so everyone could read it.
Yeah. Well, that one, Ross, was about, way back the conversation was about $2.8 trillion. Then it went down to 2.4. Then it went down to 1.7. Then it went down to 1.3 trillion dollars. Then it went down to 960 billion. And the final agreement was $900 billion, which just came out. So basically what Congress has been doing all this time is figuring out its priorities with
the election, with bickering between each other, being very clear about their priorities, not the priorities of the American people. It couldn't be more clear.
Well, I was very shocked when I started reading the content of what's in this bill. And I am very livid. I don't know about you, but I am. And we're going to be sharing some stats with you here to give you an idea and perspective so you know how corrupted our Congress has become. Take, for example, the word aircraft in the bill. Yeah, it was mentioned about 208 times.
So the question is, what does aircraft have to do with feeding your family this week?
That's correct.
Somebody's going to be fed well.
Most likely. Take about the word weapon. How many times it was mentioned in the bill? 46 times. Once again, how that's going to serve or benefit an average citizen
who can't pay their rent.
You take the word, for example, healthcare. Was mentioned 24 times.
208 for aircraft and 24 for healthcare.
How about doctors? 2 times. Twice. That's about it. It's not a laughing matter. It's being upset as to how Congress is insulting all of us. That's basically what it amounts to. Because that's what this bill is. This is an insult to the face of all Americans of all stripes.
Recently, it was a combination of Wall Street and the military-industrial complex that let congressmen know that they needed the help more than anybody else. All of a sudden, the nature of the bill changed in some very significant ways. and it did not help the person who can't pay their food bill and can't pay their rent.
Yeah, well, it tells you right there where the priorities are. The priorities is not about assisting the American people, the citizens, you know. We're not talking about the government just handing out things here. That's not what we're talking about. But given the economic conditions and where the country is headed, it is the role and the responsibility of the government to step forward by assisting those in need.
Exactly right.
I mean, are we going to be assisting the millionaires? No, because they don't need it. But if somebody who's making less than $70,000, obviously with a family of four, whatever, they're going to need help. So by giving $600, which is like an insult, what is $600 going to do to a family of four?
Almost nothing.
Yeah. And when you look at the breakdown of the bill, the spending on it,
It becomes ridiculous, absurd, and unacceptable.
and it's upsetting.
Yes.
Take, for example, and we'll share this with our viewers. Take, for example, page 471. On page 471, the bill addresses weapons procurements for the Navy. We're talking about torpedoes. We're talking about missiles. Price tag, $4.4 billion.
And our stimulus package? This is an outrage.
Yeah, $600 for a U.S. citizen. Take about page 278. In page 278, the allocation was about $2.1 billion for the Air Force.
More weapons?
More weapons. And mind you, Ross, and for our viewers to know, that Congress just passed another bill that was about 2 weeks ago before this one, for the defense spending bill, which was about $740 billion.
So this is above that bill.
That's correct. This is a second, that's additional to what they already approved, which amount to basically $2 billion a day for the military.
It gets worse, doesn't it?
It does. It does. Take about $2.3 billion for Space Force. Okay, you got people struggling to have something to eat for dinner, and we are allocating money for Space Force. Take about 500 on page 341. Take about $500 million for Israel. And why? You know, and Israel is not the only country that receives that.
Egypt is another one.
Yeah.
$1.4 billion to protect their borders.
Yeah.
When we can't protect our own borders.
Our own borders. And second, the viewers needs to know where that money goes when it goes to Egypt. It doesn't end up being spent on the country. It ends up being split up among the military, because it's the military that controls that country. We basically giving money to the Egyptian military to split it between themselves. Those are taxpayers' money, our money. And we do have the right to know where that money is spent on.
I got some statistics here that we just have to look at. As we're breaking down this bill, $85.5 million is going to Cambodia. Is it military again? Probably. 130 million is going to Nepal. What are we doing in Nepal? 135 million is going to Burma. 250 million is going to Jordan, Lebanon, and Tunisia. And ready for this one? 453 is going to the Ukraine.
Wow.
Now, Americans are getting $600. What do you think undocumented people in this country are going to get? $1,800. 3 times more than American citizens.
Yeah. And just to add something to what you mentioned about the countries, we're also sending money to the gender equality in Pakistan for about $10 million. Now, there are those who argue that in foreign policy, usually foreign aid is another tool that we use to secure our interests. I understand the arguments because I've been there. I was supporting U.S. foreign policy initiatives around the world. And yes, we do give money to countries to secure our interests. But today we are in a different We are under different conditions.
Really, conditions like we've never seen before.
Yeah, you got Americans who are starving.
Right.
A rich country like ours shouldn't be faced with this. You got about 42% of small businesses shutting down completely. They're not coming back.
And I know people who have lost their businesses completely. They're destitute now.
Yeah.
And I know them personally.
Yeah. And we can't because the taxpayers, you, the viewer, me, Ross, all of us, we are paying taxes to ensure that that money is well spent. It's our money after all. But this is when you have a nation that is not well informed. And you get Congress that can just judge priorities among themselves and send a package to the American people like this stimulus bill that just passed, throw in crumbs at Americans and say, here it is, $600.
You take a look at Congress and you say, who are they accountable to? Well, they're accountable to Wall Street, who gives them outrageous amounts of contributions. They're accountable to the military-industrial complex, gives them outrageous contributions. And quite frankly, without those two, these people can't get elected. They can't get enough money to run their campaigns. Mm. However, these people are accountable to the American people. And this issue might be so important that it will actually get people to take action. Mm. Our invitation to you is to find out how to contact your congressman. It's easy, it's online. And they have people who answer the phone and actually report the results of what people are calling them about. We invite you to call your congressman, your senator, and your representative and let them know how you feel about your $600 bailout check.
Mm. It is time that something needs to be done, Ross. We can't be just talking. We've been talking forever. And this is again where I see the need and the urgency by which term limits in Congress has to be implemented. So let us know your thoughts in the comment section. Also, be sure to check out our other videos and don't forget to like and share and subscribe. Make sure to share this video with your contacts because more people needs to know what's going on.
We usually end this with the statement, stay informed. We're ending it today with take action on your own behalf.
Till next time. Bye-bye.